Hello, my name's Claire Jeans and I'm the teacher for the mixed media class at the Brewhouse. I'm just doing a short video to show you the kind of things that we do. Today I wanted to show you a technique called sgraffito, where you scratch into oil pastels. It can actually be used on ceramics and on plaster on the outside of buildings. So it is an ancient technique, but today we're just going to use oil pastel. Now you can see I've got my paper in front of me, and I've actually put some masking tape around the outside to give you a nice crisp edge when you come to do the technique. To start off with, you need to use very pale oil pastels. If you can, you need to get the creamier ones rather than the sort of waxy ones. So I'm starting off with pale colours like yellow. It doesn't really matter where you put it on the paper. In fact, if you change your colours regularly, it makes it for a more interesting drawing. It's better if you use smooth paper rather than the sort of watercolour paper that's very textured, because when you come to scratch into it, it'll make a crisper line if you've got smooth paper. Go, so you can sort of see how I've covered it, and then on the top of that you need to put darker colours. So I think I might do a bluish colour first and then top it off with black, and then depending on how heavy you scratch into it, you can see the colours revealed underneath. And then last of all, I'm going to put a black on the top. This particular pastel is by a make called Guitar, and I don't know if they do that make anymore, but they are very good because they're quite a creamy oil pastel. Right, so once you've covered your paper, you need to find something to scratch into it. So you can use lots of different things. You could use something like palette knife. This is a little screwdriver. You can use a bit of credit card, and if you cut it into small bits you can get a smaller line, a narrower line. And also a cocktail stick is good. Cocktail stick, which is what I'm going to use to start off with. So I'm just going to do a basic flower really. So you draw into it like that, you scratch into it, and then you just, same as if you were drawing with a pencil, but you draw with the point of whatever it is that you've decided to use. The good thing with using cocktail stick is it's not likely to cut the paper in any way. So then you can kind of scratch into it, make little dots and dashes. You will find that you get quite a bit of the oil pastel sort of ride up at the edges, so you might need to every so often maybe get a little brush and brush it away. It will stick to your hands as well, and your clothes probably. Just do into there like that. Obviously I'm not working from any image, I'm just sort of doing this out of my head, so it's just a very basic one. But you can do sort of very soft lines. I don't know if you can see that the colours underneath are starting to show through. So if you want to make them really, really bright, you can scratch it away completely. And then where you want sort of maybe a bit of shadow, you can do it sort of a softer treatment. depending what colours you put on underneath, that's what's going to show through. So sometimes varying your first layer, you know, varying the colours that you use will make for a more interesting drawing when you scrape it all away. When they do it on buildings, they do a darker colour first, like a black, and then they cover it with a light plaster colour, and then they scratch into it while it's still wet to reveal the darker colour underneath. So they kind of do it the other way around to what we're doing. And it's the same with the ceramics. They sort of scratch in when the slip is still wet. Oil pastels, you know, they're not that easy to use as a pastel, but this is a very lovely technique, and you can get some nice fine detail with it as well, which you can't necessarily get when you're using a pastel to draw with. So that's the first bit. The other bit I wanted to show you was the effect of the card. When you sort of scrape away, you can get these really nice effects by scratching into it. If you do make a mistake, you can actually go back in with your black and just reinstate lines with scratching again. If you feel like you've gone over it too much or something, you can just go back in and fill it in again. So there you go. That's the finished article. And obviously if you then take the tape off when you're finished, you can see that it will give it a nice crisp edge. Otherwise it can be a bit rough. There you go. There's the picture. Very effective. Now I also wanted to show you some of the other ones that I made earlier, of course. This one here, which was a cow. Sometimes if you know the picture that you're going to do, you can decide where you want to place certain colours. So if you're doing green leaves and stuff, you may like to sort of put greens in that area, and then it kind of makes sense rather than it just being random. That's a little bird I did very quickly. You can do things where there's just sort of one colour almost like that. This one I did was actually like a scene. That worked very well, and again I decided where the colours would go so it would make sense. Thank you for watching the session that we just did. I hope you enjoyed it and you learned something today. If you'd like to do more online classes, please contact the Brewhouse and you can join my mixed media sessions. Thank you.